It's been too long, cowboy.
I was gonna open this video with a jab about how unnecessary the continuation of the Toy Story franchise is, but one, that joke has been done to death already, and two, more surprisingly, Toy Story 5 was actually pretty good. Unlike Toy Story 4, it feels like a genuinely good follow-up that adds something to an already full franchise in a more intentional way. So let's do what we debatably do best and rank the characters from good to evil. And since we're specifically ranking characters' actions in Toy Story 5, we don't have any outright evil characters in this movie, so let's start with the least good character in the gray area. And there aren't even many characters who fit into this section, but the lowest spot easily goes to Chelsea, Kara, and Heidi. This gaggle of iPad kids is the closest the movie gets to any truly bad characters. Even then, the worst they do is be mean to Bonnie for playing with toys as a child. As petty and silly as this conflict seems, it's actually quite a realistic portrayal of how technology has forced a lot of kids to lose their imaginations and grow up much quicker than they need to. They're not evil, but they're certainly mean, and for Toy Story, really, that's almost as bad as it gets. I mean, you know, aside from the occasional murderous, treacherous dictator who tries to incinerate those who step out of line. Next up, we have the, and I'm using the term very loosely, villain of the movie, Lilyad.
Hi there, I'm Lilyad. Let's play!
As a character, Lilyad's role is quite similar to that of Anxiety from Inside Out 2. She does genuinely care about her kids' well-being, it's just that her methods of showing that are questionable to say the least. Near the beginning of the film, she gets Bonnie's dad to take all of the toys to the garage so they couldn't interfere with Lilyad making Bonnie into an iPad kid so she could fit in better and make friends easier. She has this my way or the highway approach that definitely earns her the Pride Sinner medal. While this seems morally questionable at best, Lilyad does prove that she has a genuine conscience when she shows remorse for making Bonnie feel like she had to change herself to get others to accept her, especially when even that didn't work. Granted, throwing herself away Forky style wasn't exactly the right solution, but with some help from Woody, Jessie, and the army of Buzzes, she was able to help Bonnie get her toys back and make a new friend on the way. And that's all for the gray area. It's time to move on to the good section. Now, before we get into the characters who do much of anything in the movie, a quick mention of the other toys is in order. Rex, Slinky Dog, Ham, the Potato Heads, Forky, Prickle Pants, Bo Peep, the list goes on. But they have two things in common for the sake of this list. They're devoted to keeping their kids happy, and they do quite literally next to nothing in this movie. Though I will say Rex's extinction line is pretty good.
Oh, extinction! Not again!
Up next is the movie's basically main character, Jessie. Toy Story 5 is a huge win for anyone who is a fan of Jessie. She's become so ingrained with the main cast that it's easy to forget that she wasn't in the first movie. And now she takes on the role of a main character. Fearing that tech is making toys obsolete after talking to some toys who were, in fact, made obsolete by tech, Jessie spends the bulk of the movie in what we can only describe as the Toy Story equivalent of racism? In fact, I'm pretty sure she straight up said, "I don't like your kind," or something similar at some point.
No way! The last thing this world needs is more devices.
What? You're just gonna shove them back in the dark forever? Do you have any idea what that's like?
She takes on the Wrath Sinner medal for her hatred of tech toys, even being reluctant to accept their help when they offer it. Heck, she even comes off as worse than Lilyad during the latter's debut, being antagonistic towards her before she'd really done anything wrong. She's not a saint in this movie, but we can at least see where she's coming from. As a toy who had been abandoned by a former owner, being made obsolete in some sense, she naturally was fearful of doing it again. And for all her missteps, she does ultimately overcome her prejudice towards technology, ultimately helping save Lilyad in the film's final act. Now, on to what tech racist Jessie would call one of the good ones, Smartyp Pants. Smartyp Pants is a potty training toy voiced by Conan O'Brien, and yes, he is every bit as funny as that description makes him sound. While he is sarcastic, and it's possible that initially he was only really helping Jessie rescue Bullseye so she'd help him get some new batteries, he does ultimately come around as one of her most dependable allies. His status as a friend is cemented when Blaze shows him the joy of pure imagination-fueled playtime, and from then on, he's one of Jessie's right-hand toys who helps her get back to Bonnie and ultimately make her a friend. A quick mention of Atlas and Snappy is in order too. They're really just Smartypants' buddies and don't do much of anything on their own outside of helping him with whatever he's up to. That said, they were actually the quickest to offer help to Jessie in her quest to find Bullseye, so we feel like they're deserving of a slightly higher spot. And time for another quick entry, Bonnie's parents. Again, a pair of characters who really only exist to help out one of the main characters. We thought we might have been putting them lower for potentially turning their daughter into an iPad kid, but surprisingly, they prioritize setting strict screen time for her. When her being bullied online is brought to light, they waste no time disabling online chats so she's protected. The worst we could say about them is that they could stand to be a bit more observant, but it's still clear that they love their daughter and want what's best for her. On that note, let's talk about Bonnie. She's quite possibly the last Toy Story character I ever expected to be invested in, but this movie gives her a surprisingly solid, grounded character arc. Yes, there's a fair amount of jokes about her becoming a borderline iPad kid, enough to earn her the Sloth Sinner medal for today, but she also has a strong motivation, which is friendship. Her shyness makes it hard for her to reach out to others in the hopes of making friends, and her interest in toys, rather than just playing on her tablet, makes it harder for her to relate to and fit in with them. It's easy to get annoyed with her for ditching Woody in the fourth movie. Seriously, I don't think she even once acknowledges him here. But it's just as easy to see that at the end of the day, she's just a regular kid trying to make friends and live a happy life. If the worst thing you do is neglect a cowboy doll, who you have no idea is sentient, by the way, you're okay in our book. Now, perhaps controversially, Emily is next. And yes, that's right, the When Somebody Loved Me Emily. The girl who was responsible for that heartbreaking flashback in Toy Story 2, who soullessly donated her favorite toy away. But as easy as it is to judge her for that, let's look at it objectively. First off, Jessie is a collector's item. I mean, Emily could have tried to sell her on eBay for a huge profit, but she instead decided to donate her to someone else who could make fond memories with her. On top of that, it's revealed in the movie that Emily never forgot about Jessie, to the point where she kept a time capsule on the hill where she and Jessie used to play, and even named her daughter after her favorite toy. That little detail turns a tragic backstory into a genuinely sweet tale of a girl growing up while still never forgetting who helped make her childhood special. Ranking highest out of the human characters, we have Blaze. Blaze is essentially the whole reason Jessie even meets the tech toys in the first place. After picking up Bullseye in her horse's shed, Jessie follows in order to retrieve him, only to realize that Blaze is a great candidate to be a friend to Bonnie. She's also imaginative, loves toys, and is unapologetically passionate about her interests, and on top of that, she's really good with animals. And she also isn't responsible for losing the childhood keepsake of a family friend, so there's that. Yeah, maybe we're still a little sore over that, Bonnie. But in any case, it's time to go to Infinity and the next spot. Up next, we have a top-tier B-plot, the high-tech Buzz Army. The movie opens on a washed-up shipping crate full of high-tech Buzz Lightyear toys stranded on a desert island. And again, I'm just throwing this out there, absolutely peak plot point. Unlike Buzz, who knew perfect English from the moment he came out of the box, these Buzzes are more like newborn children trying to figure out what's going on around them. While, yes, they do kidnap and hold Woody hostage, they relent as soon as they realize that they aren't dealing with an agent of Zurg. And when Buzz tells them about their true purpose as toys, they don't hesitate to help the gang in any way they can. I guess if we had to come up with any real grievance against them, it'd have to be that one scene in the campsite where they leave one of the Buzzes behind. Like a great green toy soldier once said,
"A good soldier never leaves a man behind."
And on that note, let's talk about the main Buzz Lightyear. Now, in the series as a whole, we consider Buzz to be the gold medalist of good, but in 5, we do see some of his more unsavory traits. But even those aren't really that bad. At his worst, he showcases some jealousy against Woody for being the one Jessie calls for help. insisting that he should be her deputy. Of course, this is all because Buzz has a huge crush on Jessie and ultimately spends the whole movie hyping himself up to confess this to her. Honestly, he should just flip on Spanish Buzz.
Mi florecilla del desierto. Yo nunca había visto la verdadera belleza hasta esta noche.
He earns both the Lust and Envy Sinner medals for this role, but the fact is, he's still Buzz Lightyear at the end of the day. When Woody is kidnapped by an army of hims, Buzz doesn't hesitate to not only help, but to recruit every last one of them to help Bonnie. This Space Ranger is a hero through and through, and given the fact that his father is the evil Emperor Zurg, that makes us give him extra credit for breaking the cycle of evil. The Bronze Medal of Good has to go to Woody. Yeah, despite the fourth movie ending on that emotional note of Woody having the group and becoming a lost toy, he apparently still keeps in touch with the gang via a walkie-talkie. This shows that he still greatly cares for Bonnie, Jessie, Buzz, and the others. He doesn't hesitate for a second to help them out when Jessie lets him know that they're in trouble, letting us know that he's still a ride or die for Andy's toys. On top of that, he apparently spends his days rescuing lost toys in the wild, like a parachute man stuck in a tree, for instance. The guy's living the life of a noble sheriff and still being a pretty good friend on top of it. But we've got two friends who are even more pure of heart. Bullseye takes our Silver Medal of Good, and honestly, I feel like this one barely needs any explanation. Bullseye is basically a puppy dog in a toy horse's body. He sticks by Jessie through thick and thin. When Jessie considers staying with Blaze forever, Bullseye refuses to leave her to go back to Bonnie, demonstrating his devotion to his owner. His devotion isn't just blind obedience though. He's also willing to call her out when she does something wrong. When she calls Smartyp Pants and his friends useless, Bullseye pushes her to apologize to them, both acting as his friend's conscience and proving he doesn't mind confronting someone he loves if it means doing the right thing. But we've got one last character we think is the most deserving of our Gold Medal of Good, and that's Jimmy Dean, Blaze's pet pig. If Bullseye is a puppy in a toy horse's body, then Jimmy Dean is an even bigger, sweeter puppy in a pig's body. Ironic name aside, this guy is an absolute legend. First, he takes Jessie over to the playhouse where Blaze's other toys are staying, introducing her to Smartyp Pants in the process, which gets the ball rolling as far as Jessie rescuing Bullseye. Then, when it's time for Jessie and Bullseye to show Blaze some good old-fashioned playtime, Jimmy Dean gets the tech toys out of the closet so they can join in on the fun. Not only did this pig single-snoutedly end toy racism, he did it while being his owner's support system through good times and bad times. I guess what we're trying to say is, you've got a friend in Jimmy Dean. Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this Good to Evil video, make sure to watch our Super Mario Galaxy Good to Evil video here. We think you'll really like it.